Welcome to this week's edition of The Passion of the Digital Artist. And here he is, the computer art man himself, Jeff Mueller.
I don't care how many times you say that, Xavier. It's just kind of a cool thing. So
it has a ring to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
How are you this week, Jeff?
I'm excited because the process is taking another step further. You know, it's going one more step further, and we're gonna be documenting the actual process of how I create artwork. Now,
looks like you got some interesting things up there on the computer. Why don't you tell us the computer you're running and the software you're running, then take it away.
Well, I have an iMac running an i5 Intel processor. This computer, the power for what I do between the video blogging and what I do for how I work on my pictures and my JPEGs and arrange stuff and I use a tablet, a Wacom tablet, the medium size, cordless pen, and one of the more important things is my USB converter, where I'm allowed to hook up a lot more USB devices. But overall, the screen is completely and totally amazing. If you pan over there, that's my G5 from I bought that in 2003. It's down here, metal casing. That has gone and been retired to the business side of things. We pretty much run all the business of Computer Art Man, and my wife also has a business, and we run the businesses from that particular computer. So that G5, purchased in 2003, is still a very strong computer for us as far as what we're doing and what we need to do. So anyways, this i5 iMac, which I purchased about a year ago, it's just, the power is unbelievable. I can have up to like 15, 20, 60 megabyte images open.
We're going to do poor man zoom here, folks. I'm going to get a little bit closer here as I zoom the camera and slide the chair forward. There we go. Go ahead, Jeff.
And this kind of right now is a plethora of what I'm working on. The key to my process is that I don't let pictures dictate paintings. I let paintings dictate the pictures. And the way that I can describe that is, when I'm behind the camera, I'm at that moment looking to make my painting. I'm not taking a bunch of pictures and say, oh, this one would look like a good painting, this one. So before I even snap the picture with the Kodak or the 5D, I know that's what I want to paint. And then I have a picture in my mind what I want to do. For instance, a lot of the lighthouses in Cape Cod have been moved because of erosion. Cape Cod is so pretty much unstable as far as up and down and beaches and erosion that the lighthouses all were too close. So in a lot of cases, they've actually gone in and moved them away to a more stable place to keep as a working lighthouse. And for instance, this particular lighthouse, this is an actual shot of the lighthouse. Now when you're shooting the lighthouse over here, which I have a bunch of pictures of just the lighthouse, the ocean is like not even in view. There's no way at all to get the ocean in view. But then when you do the side view, the sideways view, what you get is you can see how far away it is from the ocean. So what I do, knowing that I want a romantic picture of that particular lighthouse, I took a picture right here of the lighthouse. It was a closer picture than what this particular picture was, so I had more detail. And then I took a separate picture of where I would, which is in the same vicinity, and it's similar to what's happening, but I knew this is what I wanted to do. So then once I took this particular picture, I went in and color corrected it, made the sky blue, the water really blue, greened up my foliage, and then I dropped the lighthouse in.
Awesome.
Now, once I have this particular painting and everything, and the lighthouse is in position, and this is where I go in and I create the painting. Now I do that on a new layer. Okay, so I create a new layer. Now I'm going to go in, and when you're going to be able to see, for instance, the grain in the sky. So what I'm going to do to make this, now if you would run this through a filter, the painting filters that are in Photoshop and all the other painting filters, there's a specific feel that they get to it. Now I know when you take this type of imagery and you run it through the brush strokes, it's a can feel. It's a feel that you see a lot. You'll see it at Bed Bath & Beyond, at some of the, there's some posters that you see around, and you can instantaneously see that they took a picture, ran it through the program, and that's all they did. And that's not artwork. That's computer manipulation, that type of thing. So in this particular, I really like the feel of the sky, but I want that to feel more painterly. So what I'm going to do is I take this, I go into my brush, I will, right here, you can pick your brushes. And one of the great things about CS5 or Photoshop 5 is that you can pick any type of brush that's outside, and the detail of the brush is it's pretty cool. So what you do is you pick that. Now right now it's a smaller brush, and here once you pick it, you can see that it gives you a little bit of a feel of what the brush is going to do. And as you rotate it around, it rotates similar to what the brush is. Now that's a little bit big for me, so I'm going to take that, and what I do is I've color corrected this to get close to the feel of the color. So let's say I take the blue right there. I think actually it picked up. There's the blue. So what I do, make my brush a little bit smaller, and I'm close to the blue. Now if I pick the whites, it's a little bit.
That's really neat.
I'll start to paint, and I give just like as if you're painting with a brush. And the blending is similar because you'll pick it, and it would be as if, and you just start to give, and you determine how much of the brush feel you want this particular image to have. Right here is some putting a darker blue in. And then you can kind of see what's happening here, and making the determination of what kind of brushed some of that, and you can go a little bit bigger with your brush. And then this brush particular is a little bit pressure sensitive. And then you just keep building and working what you what type of and there's really, the nice part about it is as you're doing this, and you're getting, you start to get the sense of the direction that you're trying to, and I'll just keep working that, and you can kind of see as now I might not particularly like what's going on with the lines or that type of brush at that particular size, so I'll come back here. I think I like that brush a lot. Don't like what's happening with there we go. And if you make a mistake, it's nice because you can just remove it.
A lot easier than with oils or acrylics, eh?
Well, it's not as dirty, but it's the concept of painting in the computer and getting the feel is pretty much the same as anything else. Now, what I like to do is when I'm finished with it, you're going to basically, when I'm finished with the particular painting, as I get, you won't see a part of this painting. I just decided to jump out into that one. You won't see any part of this paint, this particular canvas that won't. I will have painted every inch over the top of that photograph. Now, you might. Some of the things is once the key to my painting is overall is to make sure that when I'm looking to get the painting, I'm already painting in my mind. So colors, skies, those are all going into the fact that I'm already creating that painting, so that when I come here, I'm putting it all together, and there's very little extra stuff that I have to do. Now, I'll just go over a couple of the other paintings. You're seeing this particular painting is going to be one of in the Cape Cod series. I'm doing this one here, and I'll show you the same thing. All right. You can see it was another same thing. Beach shot for the particular lighthouse. And then on this one, I wanted to take that from the other aspect. Now, what's cool about this is this lighthouse is shot from this part of the beach. I walk down to the other end, and I've got this part of so it's the same lighthouse, but from the other direction. So you've got that. If you walk to the other side, now one of the things I have to do is if I have to decide on this particular painting, because it's two different views of the same lighthouse on the same day, is that although this lighthouse wasn't as close, I'm going to have to remove that window on one or the other so that it looks like you shot the other side of the lighthouse. So you can tell I've basically gotten and color corrected everything close to the colors, and then I'm going to paint over the top of it, creating the painterly effect. And then in some areas, I know that if I paint a certain way, that if I add some brush strokes through the filter process, it really has some really nice effects. So I know the size and everything that I make my brush strokes, so that when I run it through the painting filter in that particular area, that is the way it works. So now there's just a couple other ones you can see. For instance, this one I'm going to show you. This is going to be a painting. This eventually will have intense bright colors, but that's just straight off. I love the composition. It's going to be the painting the way it was. And then I'm looking at this particular one, and I'm deciding whether I'm going to have a blue sky. I'll probably have a blue sky. These particular people were getting married right in front of that lighthouse when we were there. So I'm going to paint a wedding, and I have to decide, am I going to have a hazy, cloudy day, a bright, sunny day? This one will be a challenge because it's a cloudy day. So if I make it a bright, sunny day, I'm just basically going to be repainting a sunny day lighthouse right over the top using this composition. Now the last part of what I'm doing is I did a lot of airbrush illustrations in the past, black and white James Dean, and I'm updating the series. I copy them with my camera and bring them in, and then what I do for here is I actually was able, was able to go in from the original. This was the original painting, and make it more photographic and look more like I was shooting for. I had the actual picture of James Dean to get it to get the proportions of this particular painting, so they were exactly to what James Dean was. So that's what I dealt with as far as that. And then my final painting, I colorized it, but my final painting is over here, and it's going to be cropped, and it's going to be, I took a shot of New York City, so I'll be painting the background and then having James Dean in front in Times Square today. So that's what I'm looking at. You know, that's my process. That's where we go from there.
That was fascinating. That's the first I've ever seen it in that detail.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
And everybody's been asking for it, so I wanted to give everybody a shot at that and show them what my actual thinking is beforehand, because really getting the painting is in my mind first. Once I have the painting in my mind and I've captured it in film, then I put it in here, and then we'll keep going down. You'll see the different steps all the way to printing out and then painting over the top.
I'm sure it's going to be a fascinating experience for everyone, myself included, to watch these paintings in this series develop.
I'm hoping it's due to popular demand.
Awesome, Jeff.
So, all right, so there we are for this week. That took up a lot of time, but I think that's what everybody kind of wants to see.
Absolutely.
All right, see you next week.
Later, folks.